Fresh Takes. Fresh Takes. Oh, hello. This is a special new episode of the Health Deli. We realized that last season, there's some of the topics that we discussed that might be of ongoing interest to people and may require some periodic updates to stay relevant.
This is breaking news.
This is it. This is cutting edge.
I like it.
And so as a result, we've decided to create a segment, and I've decided to call it Fresh Takes. And these are intended to be about 5 to 10 minute updates on the prior topics and provide some fresh information. Now, I'll have to say I have not run that title past management yet. So,
he has not. I can confirm.
I probably have to file out a 101584C in triplicate and get that approved. But
I'll fill out a DPS report for you.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll get the real take on this. But Mark, Katie, I know that you've never listened to the Health Daily before in your life, so I'm not even going to embarrass you by your ignorance. But Mark, can you happen to remember when we talked about highly pathogenic avian influenza last season?
I do remember it.
And this episode was released on May 28th of 2024. And just as a quick refresher, this highly pathogenic avian influenza strain, or HPAI, is an H5N1 strain of influenza. And if you don't remember what that is, go back to the episode and educate yourself.
It was a great episode.
I thought it was tremendous. And there's a specific clade or family of this, the 2.3.4.4b, which is this current strain that people are worried about. And, if you remember, the concern was, since this was a novel strain that had not been seen by humans before, the fear was if this got into humans, caused sustained human-to-human transmission, and had some significant health consequences with it, we could see a pandemic. Well, at that point, during the initial recording, this strain had crossed the species barrier. So it had gone from birds, again, this is avian influenza, into a variety of mammals, including cows, dairy herds. And at that point in time, the infected cows had been reported in Texas, Colorado, and Michigan. And at that point in time, only 2 verified human cases had been documented in the United States. All right. Now, since that time, this highly pathogenic avian influenza has continued to be of global interest, and it's continued to spread among livestock and in humans. And as of August 19th, 2024, this highly pathogenic strain has been detected in poultry flocks in all 48 lower states of the United States.
It's everywhere.
Also, it's been detected in cattle in 13 states, where before we only had the 3. And these states include Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Colorado, which seems to be the hotbed of things, where they've had the most cases in the dairy herds, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, and North Carolina.
So like all the places where cows live.
Pretty much. But North Carolina, I always thought of as a pig state. But anyway.
Tar Heel. Isn't that a pig or no?
I don't
No,
know.
I think somebody just stepped in tar and they got on their heel.
Oh.
That's what their logo is. Always like black spot on the heel.
Oh. I don't know.
Maybe something we'll have Andrew look up later. But since this is quick, since March 2024, more than 4,500 individuals have been monitored. People who have come in contact with infected livestock have been monitored for the disease, and over 230 people have been tested for this highly pathogenic strain. And currently there have been 13 verified cases of highly pathogenic avian influenza diagnosed in humans. 4 of these cases were associated with individuals who came into contact with sick dairy cows, and 9 were associated with exposure to infected poultry. So the other key thing here, the majority of the episodes were relatively mild. In fact, they didn't have the hallmark influenza symptoms, the fever, the myalgias. Most of the individuals had just, red eyes or conjunctivitis. And also, no sustained human-to-human transmission has still yet been identified. So those are two good things in terms of
For sure.
For a pandemic, because it's not a severe illness, and the sustained human-to-human transmission has not been documented. So based on the available information at this time, the CDC's current assessment is that the immediate risk to the general public from this H5N1 still remains low. However, they don't want to get caught with their proverbial pants down like we did during the COVID pandemic. So they continue to monitor the transmission from livestock to humans, and they're doing what's called serology studies. So they're looking to see if antibodies have been developed in people that might suggest that they've been exposed to the virus. And these really have not found much evidence that these humans are collecting or contracting the virus from the animals. So again, that's good. It's not a common occurrence. Also, as of July 2nd, 2024, you guys remember Moderna, right?
Sure.
The vaccine manufacturer, the pandemic vaccine. They were awarded a contract to start developing candidate vaccines against this highly pathogenic avian influenza strain. And it's expected that this will go into clinical trials beginning in 2025. So just a few months. Lastly, we had a problem with the coronavirus early on, in that we were not able to detect it well. There weren't tests available. And we all know that there are influenza tests available, but unfortunately there's a lot of questions on whether or not the current test, both the molecular tests, the more sophisticated tests, or the ones that you can run at home or in the pharmacy, which are a different science. There's concerns with both of them not being able to detect this virus well. So they're looking to develop these methods.
Okay. Not being able to detect that it's influenza, or not being able to detect that it's the avian influenza?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
And because some of, especially the PCR, looks for specific genetic fragments that are just unique to the strain. And so if that's not there, you would not even maybe say that it's influenza. Whereas the home use ones and the ones you can use in pharmacy are a little less specific. And so it might tell you have influenza, but you wouldn't know that it's a novel strain, or it might miss it altogether.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of concern about the available tests, so they're working to update those as well. So, we're going to continue to monitor the situation, and I imagine that we'll be giving fresh takes periodically throughout season 4 on this as the situation continues to develop.
Nice. Well, thank you for the update.
Yes. Fresh takes.